What an episode you're about to watch. This is a good one. This is episode 199. I mean, you have a little bit of everything. We figure out why Yuban is trimming certain parts of his body hair. If that's not intriguing enough, Toby even tells you on this podcast, well, he tells us, but you're going to be able to see it's something that he's never told anybody before, and that's pretty good. We also come up with the old saying, bull in a china shop. We come up with a new one thanks to Toby and his animals at the house, and obviously Angel's animals too. They're not just Toby's. And just another great episode, and I'm super excited to do that. Shout out Cult Coffee, friend of the show, and check out the Deluxe Edition Network. You're going to hear that in there as well. But I just wanted to say it now because I didn't do it at the beginning because we jumped right into this episode. And speaking of jumping right into it, let's jump into this. Can't thank you enough for watching this.
Like outside of like my forearms and like my shins, I have no body hair.
I am progressively getting hairier and hairier. Oh, is that smooth still thing? Is it still on? God,
it is.
Yeah,
no, there you go.
Smooth.
There you go.
There we go.
So shins and forearms. Other than that, you have no body hair. Thank you for that visual, Toby.
Well, I mean,
Prove it.
Prove it.
Oh, no.
Okay. Shins and, yep.
Oh,
Good God. You are
wow.
the definition of
Oh, no.
Caucasian. You know what I mean? Like that is white, my friend.
It's
I thought I was facing.
well, it's because
Certified
I can't go outside because of like my blood pressure issues and stuff like that. So I can't go outside when it's hot out. So I don't tan. And apparently my body hair grows for me to specifically be able to dress like a dad.
Mine is, I don't know what it is. So now it's migrating up to my shoulders. I'm getting more of the back hair. And I used to make fun of people at the pool when I was a kid all the time. I'm like, oh, look at that weird old hairy guy. I'm the weird old hairy guy now. And it sucks. I'm like, damn, karma worked about 2 decades later. It sucks. Not a fan.
Yeah, I went and got my hair cut.
Nice. I've always been hairy.
I got my hair cut last week
Ooh.
and had a woman who was cutting my hair trim my eyebrows. And you can't probably tell, but she trimmed these bad boys so short, but they're so thick anyway, it doesn't matter. You can't, like,
They're
she
on
was like,
fleek, my friend.
like,
I was just happy that
just
mine
draw it
gave me 2 again because that unibrow was getting thick.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yuban looks like he on a regular basis goes and has threading done on his eyebrows.
Ooh.
No, they're naturally just. My wife always makes me like crap for it too. And my eyelashes, I have extremely long eyelashes, and she's like, "That's not fair. I want your eyelashes and I want your eyebrows." I'm like, "Girls would kill for these bad boys."
Do you know why it is? It's because your eyes spend so much time being low that gravity is rewarding your eyelashes and your eyebrows because they're so low all the time because you can't open them. It's less work. The muscles aren't working, so the hair can grow longer.
You know
Okay.
what?
That's
I
science.
believe it.
I'm gonna use what Matt just said to segue into something else. So we were watching the premiere last week, and Matt was like giving like worse than like Grimlock level dad lines,
Jokes.
dad jokes. And I was like, dude, they're progressively getting worse and less funny. Like, just it's not working, bro.
Do you know
Like,
why? It was AI.
No.
I wasn't there. AI. I put on this AI bot to chat in YouTube to pretend like I was in the premiere, and it was just a bot that was just throwing out comments every so many minutes.
What?
It's the future. You have to embrace AI.
Yeah, no.
Mhm.
Listen, I know this isn't TikTok Tuesday, but if we're going to talk about AI stuff, can we talk about these NPC and AI lives that are taking over TikTok right now? What the?
I've yet to see him, but I know Yuban brought it up.
Yeah,
Have you
dude,
seen
I'm
it,
gonna make
Brandon?
some money off that shit.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. I hope the old wonky clock app doesn't hear me, but I haven't been on TikTok much over the past 6 months. So you'll have to
Oh.
enlighten me.
So
Yeah,
there's
somebody-
this
so
new
I haven't
thing.
seen them. So yeah, Toby, explain it.
So there's this new thing. So by the way, I also found the original. I found the original person that kind of kicked it all off. Now, mind you, this person's been doing it the whole time they've been on TikTok, and they didn't like just start. They've been on TikTok for a while, and all she's ever done
Always
is like
doing this though.
Yes, she She calls herself. Her name is @AngelCyborg. She has 570. It's almost 571 followers. But this is all she ever does is like this type of content. And she does like the automated kind of like she gets real, but she doesn't like use a filter like a 2x speed thing. She like everything's natural, and all of her lives are like that as well. Like right, like her character that she plays on TikTok is like a faulty cyborg or a cyborg, and so her live has always been like that. And I guess like a couple of her videos. What? What'd you say?
Terminator. Her nickname. I randomly pulled it up on the Instagram, and a cyborg, and then men all caps Ater. The Terminator.
But she has had recently a bunch of videos blow up, and I guess it caused people to go into her live, and she gets like dozens of thousands in there. So we're talking like 24,000 people in her lives, and they're just seeing gifts just get shattered at her. And she was doing the whole. And so what people do now is they act like a character select screen character, and they're like, and anytime a gift comes in, they're like, "Oh, thank you for the rose."
The hot dog one is my favorite.
Ooh, hot dogs. Num 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 num. I love hot dogs.
No, you're watching a different one.
But they
that's
keep
not
doing
the hot dog one. The hot dog one.
No.
Twister. Have you seen that one?
Well,
there's people
for the doing it differently. Yeah,
cracking the pepper
roses.
Yeah, people are
it just
yeah, people are doing it differently. But the thing is like all these like larger level creators. I mean, even some smaller level creators, but it really kind of started kicking off with like these people that have like 6 and 9 million and 1 million followers started doing it. And then now lower level, I guess you could call them creators with like 2,500 and whatnot are doing it. And people like, dude, iSpeed, what's his name? iSpeed or whatever speed from YouTube, who's also on TikTok, did one the other day, $35,000 in an hour. In gifts.
Holy shit!
They make
so let me ask you this:
so everybody's doing it, and you go to yeah. So the thing is like people have been sending me these lives, and like the big joke now is like, oh well, rent's due, so I'm doing it, and then all of a sudden, and then you'll see that person's live, and you go in every live that I've jumped in just because I jump in the live so that I can block the person. Because if I see you doing it, I'm blocking you. I'm sorry. I'm not dealing with that shit.
Fair.
I don't want to see your content. I don't need somebody that's just doing what everybody else is doing on my For You page or anything like that.
Oh shit! You must not have many people then. There's a lot of that.
I have yet. Oh, see, that's the thing is I have content creators that do original content like Yuban and Brandon and you. I don't do people. I don't follow people that just do trends. But
dance trend.
The smallest amount I've seen in one of those lives so far is 5,000 people. And that was in a live for somebody that had 2,700 followers. And I'm like, I've got 1.8 million followers, and I struggle to keep more than 26 people in my live at a time.
It dropped. I stopped doing TikTok lives because I would get, once you start getting bigger, I wasn't hitting 100 on average, but I was hitting about 50, 60. Feeling good about that. I go in now, I'm lucky to have 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So that'll stand there. I'm like,
I used to my lives when I had 30K, I was getting like 300-400 people in my live. You know, when I was at like 90K, I'd have, I could get upwards of 2,000 people in my live. I'm at 1.8 mil. I can get 26 people in my live, and half of them are coming in and saying, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you forever," because TikTok is no longer pushing notifications that I'm live to anybody. Because I'm not monetizing my live. I'm not doing a live battle. I'm not doing this trendy AI shit. And when all you do is just have a conversation with the people that follow you, TikTok's like, well, you're not making us money, so we're not. Why are we going to promote you?
I don't recall the last time that I received any notification that anybody was going live. Now that you mentioned it, I used to get those suckers all the time, but now I don't get any of those.
Nothing.
I could literally go.
I'm thankful.
Back in the day, open my app and then just go over to following, and it would be the first 6 people would be all my friends that are alive or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, or even at the top of the screen, it would say, Toby, Matt,
top of the screen
live, in pink, right. Live. You click on it, you know who's live. None, never. I'm not anymore. So I've taken such a, not to hijack the conversation, but I've taken such a step back in the last year, and I'm kind of resetting myself actually this week, believe it or not, and like just trying to have fun again with it and posting just to have fun, because I'm not chasing money. I'm not chasing views. I'm not chasing followers. I don't give a shit because it's just a side thing. And I've finally come to accept that and be okay with it, because in the past I had done those things. I had chased followers. I had chased views, because it can become an addiction when you see a video hit 1 million and then you get 5 or 6 videos hit 1 million in a week and you're like, oh shit, I'm on a roll. I can't lose.
Yeah, it's like heroin, man. You're constantly chasing, the term is chasing the dragon. You get that one high from that video hitting and you're like, yeah, and you want that feeling again, but eventually like that feeling, you're not getting it because you need a little bit more. You need a little bit more. And social media can really be an addictive thing that I don't think people talk about enough.
I've got a video. I'm pulling it up right now just so I can see it on TikTok. I posted 3 days ago. 989 views. Now, old me 6 months ago, I would be devastated, mad, angry. Why are they doing this? Now it's like, who cares? The people who saw it, liked it, shared it. I'm sharing it on Instagram. I'm sharing it on Facebook. I'm sharing it on Threads or wherever else.
Yeah.
And the people who need to see it will see it. And whether or not it hits 30K or 3K, fucking so be it. Who cares?
And
so let me throw this at you. Or you could be. Sorry, I was going to say you could be Yuban, where you finally get that video to pop, and then they're like, community violation.
Every time, and Brandon, I shared the same feelings with you as well. I mean, I didn't post once a month maybe, and sometimes it was a repost for the last 8-9 months. And I know 2 years ago, I was always like, I'm going to post 2-3 times a day. Oh, I have to post it this time. This is where I usually gain more traction. And now I'm like, it's 2:00 in the morning and I just saw a possum outside. This shit's going on TikTok right now. Like I give no shit. And I've had videos that have done well, or some of them that haven't done anything. Like I'm like, Jesus Christ, did I just put this as friends only? Why who saw this? And I just don't care. And now that I see that one of my videos got removed after it was doing well, and then the one that I had posted 2 or 3 days prior to that is now getting views again, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, because I used to do the same thing. I would see it not doing well, and then I'm gonna remove that motherfucker or whatever. No, now I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
I'll echo that point you made, and just to say, for me, I'm with you there. I've come full circle. That's where I was when I started this whole thing, posting to have fun. Don't give a shit about views or followers or anything else, because I didn't know those things really existed or that was going to be a thing for me. But that's really the heart of it is. And I know Matt has said this, and I've heard Toby say it 100 times, of you got to post to what makes you happy. You have to post what makes you enjoy it. And the other people who are like-minded like you will see it, laugh, and share it, et cetera, and views and other things be damned. So be it. Throw it in the ether and then have fun.
And if you are your genuine self, you get a genuine following as well. That's not going to report you. That's not going to, and that was my thing as well, was I got so tired of posting that I was like, I'm going to get another violation. I'm going to get removed. I don't want to lose another account. And now I'm like, block me, motherfuckers. I'll make another one. I don't care.
Check out the Deluxe Edition Network. They got 2 podcasts of the month, and I should have did this at the beginning, but we were talking about the weird fact that Yuban shaves facial hair from right under his neck to his chest, and there's this weird gap. Podcast of the month, Grown Up Bananas, In a Pickle Radio. Good shit. Check it out, Deluxe Edition Network.com. Yeah, I don't know why you did that, but either way, I mean, it's a look. Oh,
speaking of our announcements and everything, which, by the way, everybody, don't forget to go to cult.coffee.com for your coffee needs. I can now I can now go and have them and talk about them and everything else like that because fucking good coffee stopped making coffee.
Really?
Oh,
They are no longer a company.
Must not have been that good.
And
at
I
coffee.
am sad.
goddamn.
So I will be
Well.
trying out cult coffee, and I will let you guys know what I think of it.
Oh, I can't wait. I had the cowboy coffee, is what it was called this morning. I had a little bit of, I had 4 ounces of it hot, and then I did 4 ounces cold because where I'm from, the fucking humidity and the heat sucks more dick than what? Even?
Freddie Mercury.
Oh, there we go.
I don't.
Of all of the opportunities, that's the one.
That's the one that he
You
took.
put me on the spot, bro.
Freddie Mercury, like
Right.
It's a lot of dicks
with that one.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, is it though?
It
Do
is.
you? Is it? Was it? Do we know?
Kind of like your coffee brand. Was it around for a very long time? Just damn.
Ooh, shots fired. Wow, he's spicy. You are spicy. If we had a hot sauce plug, I would do that right there for spicy. But turns out I don't. So we're I don't know. So one thing I was talking with Brandon a little bit, and this is just going to kind of hopefully do some more conversations. I went down this weird. It was like somebody opened a time capsule to my life. I was randomly got a Facebook message. Some guy that I haven't seen in 20 years hit me up. I was like, "Hey, I'm in town. I live in SoCal. I'm in town. Want to meet up? Have a beer?" I was like, "Cool, fucking yeah, that's it." So we started just having these fucking free flowing. And by the end of it, next thing you know, it's like 1:30 in the morning. Bar's getting ready to close. My cheeks are so goddamn sore from laughing because we had another buddy that we all went to school with started telling this fucking story. Pretty sure most of it's real, and I don't want to get into it because I actually might try to bring him on for a side episode and just let him tell this story. Just a quick recap. More or less, he got engaged, got into a motorcycle accident right in front of a school bus, and it turns out the person that hit him was his fiance. And we were just having this conversation. I was like, man, I made the comment of, I bet you the kids on that bus were fucking traumatized, probably had to go to therapy and shit. So we started having this conversation. This guy came in and was like, oh, wait, are you that guy? Holy shit, you were the guy that got hit by, I was on the fucking bus. And he just started talking about how terrible the scene was on the bus. And I'm like, I'm not going to get into this. I want you two fuckers to tell your story separately and just have a conversation about it. It was wild. But this guy that got hit, he's a pizza delivery guy, and his whole thing is he works for this pizza company, and he has a vehicle that and I'm curious if you guys have seen this, it's called the General Wii, kind of like the General Lee, but it's a very small, like, I don't know if it's a smart whatever, but it's a very, very small, and it says 0.5 for the number on it, and he's even put like a wind-up thing on the back, and he delivers pizza, and that dude probably makes more money a month than I do delivering pizzas, and he's so well known. Somebody randomly from like Virginia or something was up because where we live, a double college town, and or where he delivers pizza, and they ended up seeing this, recording it, and the video ended up getting a couple million views because everybody, and of course, put the Good Old Boy song to it and shit.
Right.
And he's known now as the General Wee and the guy that delivers pizza. Fucking
That's hilarious.
Full circle. And that story is good. I really want to get them on and tell. It's not going to be a live show because some of the stuff this guy comes out, he's a North Country guy with a gun addiction, so I'm never going to do it live. I need to make sure I edit some shit. But and then I went to another bar, and a band, I was telling Brandon, like I said, a band that hasn't played in probably 15, 20 years got back together just to play a show last night. It was just this weird fucking, it was like I was living 20 years ago last night over the weekend. It was fucking weird. I don't know if you guys have ever had moments like that, but it's kind of woke up this morning. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Felt like it was 2003 again.
I do want to hear both point of views from that story, though. That sounds entertaining as shit. I'm not going to lie.
It was hilarious. And like I said, I can't obviously do it justice. And the one guy's a pretty good storyteller. And then just this kid reliving a moment and telling stories of him and his buddies. And then it was very traumatic for the bus driver, and apparently the bus driver is still around and lives locally. So I think I'm going to actually try to call the bus driver when we do this episode, and just, I don't want to bring the bus driver in the studio or whatever and have her accidentally, like, maybe, relive these moments, but it'd be cool to record a phone call or something just to hear. Because, I mean, I guess she was like puking and stuff. Like, it was that bad.
Oh my God. What did you eat the day before? We need the details.
What did you eat that morning for breakfast? Yeah, was it bacon? Was there some milk that came up in this puke or what? But
Eggs? Were they scrambled?
yeah, pretty wild story. So it was fucking like a Portuguese breakfast.
Ooh, yes. Delightful.
Yes. So and I was talking to Yuban a little bit before, and he was having a love for painting. He said that he would actually rather go watch the new Barbie movie than have to continue to paint his kids' rooms.
This is terrible, man. It's every single year I'm redoing a room, I'm painting a room, I'm doing something. I can't stand it because what always happens is my wife's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this together. This is gonna be a team effort." I'm like, "You're gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna end up painting this fucking thing by myself overnight, and you're gonna wake and be like, you painted the whole room," like as if it's gonna be a fucking surprise. You know what you were doing when you put the kids to sleep. That's why I said I'll see you in the morning. She's like, I'll be back. I check 15 minutes later, sawn logs. And I'm like, I knew it. So painted the room. And honestly,
no help.
But my kids did come in and they were checking on me because it's summertime. So they're up until way, way later than they need to be. But they're like, you're painting this room all by yourself? And I'm like, mm-hmm. They're like, does mom ever help? And I was like, nope, not a one. But I wear the same shirt. It's my class. Or it's I graduated in 08. I know I'm a baby, but it's my prom t-shirt, and I hated it from the moment that I got it. So I've always used it as my painting t-shirt. So since 08, every room that I've painted, I've used this exact same shirt. And so it has every color. And so you can point out, I'm like, oh, this was the living room back in, 2010. And so that's my weird dad thing that I have. So whenever I die, they can keep my painting t-shirt.
That is a really odd time capsule kind of thing.
And so now, even if I don't make a mistake, like this time I didn't, I dip my fingers in the paint bucket, put it on my shirt. So that way I have the color on my shirt.
Speaking of crazy time capsule stuff. So one of my pigs absolutely destroyed my office last night, starting at 3:30 in the morning. She came in, she just started ripping stuff out of here. I need to replace the lamp. She grabbed all of this stuff. And the biggest concern about that is that's all my grandfather's World War II stuff.
Oh shit!
Didn't destroy any of it. She just grabs it and then she drags it.
Good.
She drug it right there, and she made this big old nest out of it. So as I'm picking everything up, because I haven't really ever had the chance to go all through the stuff that my dad brought me that used to belong to my grandfather, and so I was able to find his World War II dog tags. That was cool because that was one of the things that I didn't know if my dad gave me or not. And 2 undeveloped rolls of film that he's taken of the film from. Now, mind you, this is all the stuff he had together with all of his World War II stuff. So I'm going to take those 2 rolls of film to CVS, and it's going to cost quite a bit. And one of the roll canisters has got a dent in it. So I'm going to let him know, hey, I'm just letting you know, this thing's not just going to simply pull out of there. So just be very careful with these. I don't even know if they'll develop properly because of how old they are. And I'm sure they weren't stored in pristine environment for the film. But I am so interested to see what is on it. One is 36 exposures, the other one is 27 exposures. So that's
make sure when you send them out. Make sure when you send them out though too, because I've read a lot and I used to work in the photo. Make sure that you make it very clear to them that they can and will give you back the negatives, because a lot of times they send them out to services and they destroy the negatives after. Because we bought a bunch of disposable cameras to Florida and we can't find anybody around here that will let us keep the film. They send them out, they send you the pictures and the negatives are gone forever. So that's just one thing.
Well, when I go,
I've seen at least up here.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the CVS that's just right down here in town, because they do have a photo processing there, and I believe because it does take a while for you to get them back, so I know that they're sending them out to somebody, which I'm fine with. But I already had that intention of, hey, you need to ensure the negatives come back with the film, with the photos. Yeah, I need the negatives. You don't understand.
And if
these are, what, 80, like 60 years plus old. 70? Let's see.
I don't know the math on that.
Good Lord. What is 2023? And he joined 1945 is when he started. So, you know, close to 80 years. They better.
Wow.
This is, I don't, like I said, I mean, it's 80-year-old film. So I don't even know if anything will develop from it, but I'm willing to pay to see if it does. And if anything does, if I don't get those negatives, you guys are going to hear about me on the news.
Oh, shit.
No,
Yeah, 'cause I mean, at the end of the
hopefully-
day, too, you can get the stuff fairly cheaply and develop them yourself. Honestly, I have a buddy that does that.
Now,
God,
the
you would-
only shitty thing would be is if you developed it and like a third of them were dick pics, because that's like the only thing I can imagine is like 80 years from now.
Yeah, they
someone
didn't
finding
do
one of my
that
old phones.
80 years
You
ago.
never know. You never
They
know.
didn't do that 80 years
freaky.
ago, Yuban.
Yes,
they
they
didn't do it 80
did.
years ago.
I
80
mean,
years ago,
listen,
people had
guys are
barely
guys.
even taken photos of themselves.
Cleopatra had a wooden dildo, my guy. You're telling me, I mean, get the fuck out of here. This thing, I'm just saying, whenever they find one of like my Galaxy S2 from fucking, you know,
but
10 years
that's-
ago, they're going to find
listen,
it 70
there-
years and they're
there's
going
a
to find a
difference.
cable for it. Toby, you've had your chance, the 30% of the
No,
show to talk. Hold on. So you're going to find a cable, they're going to plug it in, and they're going to be
you made
like,
a
what was
ridiculous
Grandpa
statement
Wilson
to something
doing?
that makes no sense. No
They're gonna go
sense.
through all my pictures, and it's going to be,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, look at this.
Where,
and it's gonna say
okay, and
dick
where is
pics.
your camera? Where is your camera store your photos?
My
in the
phone
cloud.
stores it in the
Yuban,
gallery?
shut the fuck up. Just answer the question. Where does
I
your
just
phone-
did. You've been talking this
phone.
entire fucking time. We're trying to let anybody else
stores it
talk
on
for a
your
fucking
phone, right?
minute.
It
Jesus
stores it
Christ.
on your phone. Okay.
Jesus
And when
Christ,
you
Nick.
send
Call
a
it the
dick
Toby
pic out-
podcast.
When you send a dick pic out, who does it all go to? Don't fucking
gonna
say
go
the entire
to-
world or all of public, because it doesn't. Who does it go to?
OnlyFans. It's gonna depends. Who am I sending it
So
to?
a
Is this one
limited
for
number
a
of
loved one,
people,
or
right?
is this for Gam Gam? Yeah, I would
You know
say
why they're not
probably
taking
for
those
Gam.
photos back in the day like that? Because it gets developed by a public fucking company at a photo mat.
You're
They're
Have
not
you ever
doing it.
worked photo?
You're telling me in the history of
Yes,
time
I
of
did.
Kodak, fucking Fujifilm developing stations that nobody took pictures of titties or dicks. You were out of your fucking mind. Next subject,
Wait a
you're
minute.
100% wrong.
Did they have these 80 years ago? Are you seriously trying to?
No,
Like,
I'm just
how-
saying, so your,
is your brain not able to go
justification,
80 years back to remember what technology
You're
was
saying-
and wasn't available then?
Your justification was saying that the reason why they weren't developed is because other people would see them. Who the fuck else would see them with a Kodak camera? It's the same concept. Other people are taking your film, they're looking at it, and they're going, nice tits, ha ha ha, he has a micro penis the entire time. Regardless if it was in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or current. That's my point. You're saying, well, it was still in the 40s and 50s. It doesn't make sense because the same people from the same time are still looking at the same fucking thing, regardless of how it was taken. I don't care if it was in the 1800s and they got the tripod thing with the little fucking hood and old fucking Margaret's out there and the dust storm showing her fucking gigantic personalities. They're still going to say, nice tits, Margaret. Let's get on to the gold rush. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't.
You just compared tintype. Tintype is it's developed right there. That's not going to a photo mat.
It doesn't matter. People are still going to see the penis. Is what I'm saying. It's going to a third party is going to develop it.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, guys are guys, girls are girls, and I think I picture somebody that just developed the camera for the potential first time film and everything else, or even you see historical paintings and there's just dicks and stuff everywhere. The guy probably created the camera, or I'm assuming a guy, I guess that's sexist, that invented the camera probably just to take a picture of a naked chick or his own dick.
Well, I think what's interesting about this is not quite the conversation or the debate that's being had, but what I find funny is this thought that folks have in society that we are the first people to develop certain acts amongst people. When
No,
grandpa never did anything. I know that's not what you're saying. I know. I'm just it playing off of that, I find that interesting, especially because we can even go to Google now and search on certain websites to find classic versions of films that are available. And you're like, oh man, Mildred was getting down. I didn't know they even knew how to do that back then.
Yeah.
So
I'm very well aware of like the Betty pages and things like that. And I know fetish photography itself has been around. What I'm saying is like the common Navy bubble gunner on a B-24, the chances of him taking dick pics in World War II to send home to his wife probably really didn't happen.
My thing is this, is we think
weren't
about
there.
You brought up to Yuban, you brought up the gold rush. Well, sometimes I like to think about, like pioneer times, like going to the West, traveling West, whether you were the Mormons on the Mormon Trail trying to find your homeland or where you were going to be, or you were just a normal family trying to make it somewhere and trying to find your little plot of land, or you were a homesteader, whatever it was. My thought is this, is you ain't got power, electricity. You don't got TV. You got books. You got tobacco. And you got your wife. The things that these people were doing in their spare time, I'm telling you, people were eating groceries. They were gobbling down. Things were happening. Your great grandma and your great great grandpa, they were getting it on.
Bro,
I guarantee
family size is like, yeah, there is a correlation between the advancement of technology and the size of the average family. Because my mom had 16 brothers and sisters. My dad had 9 brothers and sisters, right? Their parents were in families of like 10, 15 kids. And that was average size family now. What do they say? 2.5 kids. I guess every family, like on average, has a midget in their family. But 2.5 kids is the average now, and it's going down.
Mm-hmm. And just to add to that point, the child mortality rate back then was crazy compared to what it is now. So even that,
all I know is my great grandpappy settled to the West, and he sent a dick pic via the Pony Express to my grandma because she didn't want to settle West, and she was like, my great grandma, you know what I mean? And she was like, no, I can't go West. And he's like, look, take a look at this. She's like, I'll see you next year. And so she took her wagon and she met up. So Toby,
on the Oregon Trail.
I just want to go ahead. Yeah, they
you
took
have
the Oregon Trail. Yeah, of course, it's framed. It's actually it's like the Mona Lisa around these parts.
It's under Mario Brother 3.
But I mean, again, too.
So we'll blur it out when you show it here on camera. Go grab that thing real quick.
Do you remember Titanic? Whenever what's her face was getting all drawed with the perfect breasts?
Yes, I completely understand a drawing being exactly the same as turning in a piece of film to a photo mat to get developed by a public company. Yes, great comparison.
They're like, hey, we're going to hang this up in a museum and a whole bunch of strangers and children are going to see probably not.
So when I worked photo, you could always tell, and there was a couple of us, we would take side bets. When somebody came in, dropped off their disposable camera, how many of them we would not develop because we obviously had a policy, and we're just like, so we'd come in and be like 7. And this one guy one day, he nailed it. He was like, the entire camera. I'm like, what? I'm telling you, this is fucking weird. And there would just be dick pics, them doing things, and they would bring them to these things where we would have to develop them, and we'd hand them back, and we handed the whole thing back to this one person. They're like, where's my pictures? You know what was on there. And they're like, oh, yeah, absolutely. You know we had to see these, right? Oh, yeah, we don't care. Well, obviously, but we can't develop them. Dude, there's well, fine. I'll just bring them to Walmart then. It's like, cool, bring them to Walmart and fucking, but it was just disposable cameras full of stuff.
Or you could usually tell by either the amount of confidence, like if somebody was really super confident sounding, or if they were extremely nervous. But it was always one end of the spectrum or the other. Why? Okay, so to be honest, I've always felt this way about this product. I believe the reason Polaroid did so well and had such a boom is because people suddenly felt the confidence of being able to take that type of photography without feeling the embarrassment or the nervousness of having to turn that film in to like a photo mat. Because I had a sergeant,
Not me.
when we went to Bosnia, I had a sergeant. He always had this thing in his pocket, and it was like duct tape, like it was almost like a duct tape wallet looking thing, but it was just a pouch, and it was like filled with like a stack of like Polaroids like this. And I'm thinking, oh, this is cool. He's got pictures of his kids and his family and stuff like that. No, I was fucking wrong. I was wrong because one day curiosity got the best of me, and I was having to go out and I was having to reorganize the vehicle because we were getting ready to go out, and like it dropped on the floor, and I was like, oh, this is Sergeant's family photos, and I just pulled one up, and that was all I needed to see. I was like, whoop. They were all of his wife and some other guy, all of them, and I was like, oh no, I am this is the first time I've told anybody about that. He doesn't know.
No shit.
I didn't tell him. I just put it right back. I put his photos right back underneath the radio stand where they were. And I was just like, I didn't tell the other people on my crew. I didn't say shit. This is the first time I am telling anybody about this. But I was like, oh no.
I used to work at a cell phone store that fixed cell phones as well. So people would bring in iPhones, Androids, everything. And whenever they would have us switch over their information, you would be able to see the thumbnails of the pictures and everything. Or if we had to fix their phone, they're like, hey, it's not sending pictures. We'd have chicks that would come in and be like, there's something wrong with it. I can't open up my photos. And I'm like, okay. I click on it and like, it's open. And then it would just be a photo of them just completely doing something, looking naked or something. I'm like, it works just fine. They're like, okay, thank you, and just leave. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was weird. And then whenever we would check their phone, they'd always be like, hey, it's not working. And I'm like, why? Why is it? What happened? Did it get wet? And they're like, no, not at all. And you'd open it up and rice would fall out. And I'm like, why is there rice in the phone? Oh yeah, I dropped it in the toilet. And I'm like, fucking thank you. God damn it. I'm like, you piece of shit. So then we would scope their phones for nudes. We're like, now we're going to look through your phone. Fuck you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What were you trying to take when you dropped it in there? I had a buddy that once dropped his in a porta potty. And I was like, please tell me you didn't get it. He was like, fuck no. I had to go buy a new phone, lost everything on it. I'm like, why are you taking your phone out in a porta potty? He's like, I don't know. I just wanted to pass the time. So to this day, when he has to shit on there, from what I'm told, he now brings a book or a newspaper. But it's hard to find newspapers up here nowadays. But
I'm telling you, I got to the point in my life where I take my phone to the shitter every time I got to go, man. And my phone goes with me because I grew up having to read shampoo bottles and looking at stuff like Reader's Digest and things like that. I gotta have something to like. I'm watching TikTok, dude. If I liked and commented it on your TikTok, there's a really good chance I did that while I was taking a shit.
Oh, 100%.
I had this. Same. This reminds me of a moment I had just this week with my daughter, who is 2.5 years old. She went to the bathroom to do her little duty, and she's old enough now where she's like, Daddy, will you shut the door? Okay, yeah, sure. Shut the door. Daddy, will you bring me a book? She 2.5 wanted a book in the bathroom while she was shitting. I was so proud. I have never been more proud.
I get generally upset now. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say whenever
you generally upset.
I get generally upset whenever I have bubble gut, and if I'm like, oh God, it's one of those moments where you have to go to the bathroom, and then you're like, okay, where's my? It's on the counter, and then you're like, either I shit my pants or I can hurry up and run and clench with all my might to grab this phone again real quick. He's like, I don't want to shit here without my phone. I hate it.
So do you run and grab it and chance it, or are you just like, I don't have time?
No,
I feel like you're a chancer. You're a risk taker.
Oh yeah. Usually the pants around the ankles too, and everything like that. I'm like, don't look at me. I'm just like running real quick.
If you yell, don't look at me, everybody naturally looks at you. It's like in a locker room. I'm getting naked. Don't look, and everybody's like, what? Yeah. Like, why was that a thing to yell that? I don't know if you guys. There would always be somebody in the locker room.
It's just that general thing when you're out with your friends, dude. this guy over here. Don't look. Or like be subtle about it. You're always gonna have the friend.
What? Yeah, that guy over there.
Holy shit, that guy? This guy over here? I'm that guy. Just to let you know. If you point somebody out, I'm gonna be like, Yuban, are you talking about this guy? The guy I'm pointing at?
This dipshit over here.
Yep.
That's
don't.
I have
Yeah,
a friend
this
that always
dipshit
says
over
that.
here.
He always goes, no shit, where? Every time I'm like, God damn it, stop!
Yeah.
Fucking can't stand that shit. Oh,
That's me.
You haven't figured
I'm
out.
very
You
observant.
could pull them in
about,
with eye
like,
contact.
everything. No,
Try that. Pull them in with some eye contact. Just be like that, and then they're naturally gonna be like, "What the fuck are you staring at?" And just don't say anything. And eventually, their eyes will curiosity. They grab it. I got a guy like that. I stopped doing that because he would try to embarrass, and then it would turn into a drunken fight, and this and that. Or one time this same friend decided we were at a bar, and he decided that it was going to be a fun thing to steal all of the remotes in the entire place to all of the TVs because they didn't have a universal one still. They weren't doing it from a computer. So his whole entire mission, I say lightly, it was his goal was to steal every remote. Some were behind the bar, some were this. A couple hours later, he just kind of was like, let's get the fuck out of here. So we're walking home and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's wearing a jacket I've never seen before. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I got a jacket. And then he's like, and the remotes. And he just had a handful of remotes in somebody's jacket. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So he's pulling stuff out of I wonder what's in this jacket. And next thing you know, he pulls out a bag of weed. This guy did not do drugs. He drank, and that was it. And he's like, fuck. In his drunken mind, he thought he was going to get arrested for the weed. So he rips off the jacket, throws it, grabs all the remotes, start chucking them in the road so they could be ran over to destroy the evidence, and fucking hopped a bunch of fences and was home with 2 pizza rolls. And it was one of the greatest, most fucking random nights I've ever seen. And I'm like, okay. Imagine being that bar.
We had there was so the bar that I went to had another bar open up like just right down the road. I mean, like not even a mile down the road, and it was trying to compete with the bar that we'd all been going to. And we realized it was starting to kind of pull a little bit of the traffic away. So 2 things. One, I went over there one day and I realized all of their TVs are the exact same brand and model. All of them.
Oh.
So I went on Amazon and I found that remote and I bought that exact model's TV's remote. The other thing is they had the jukebox that you can get the app for and you can play. I can't what is it? Touch Tunes. They had a Touch Tunes jukebox, but they were close enough to the other bar that you could actually control the play on the other bar's jukebox. So what we would do is we would be at our bar and we'd see the type of music that's getting played, and then we would start playing shit like Wheels on the Bus and so on and so forth. And the nice thing is, unless somebody at the bar goes and skips the songs, those are just going to play. So we were doing stuff like, what does the fox say? Wheels on the Bus, we were doing like Baby Shark, like all these other songs. And then we would drive by and just kind of sit outside the bar and hit the remote, click, or just standing right outside right in the parking lot. You hit the TVs like big. They're always got like, they're showing UFC, but they're doing it illegally because they didn't get the business contract. And we knew that. So we'd sit outside and like right before like somebody would get into it on the match, you'd start turning off the TVs and people are, oh, or you go there during a football game and big old pass and you see the guy like this crossing the end zone and the ball's coming down. You fucking change the channels. Like we used to fuck with that bar all the time.
And then I heard that they ended up becoming a very popular bar because it was like a haunted bar, they thought. So they got all these people that were into ghost hunting and shit that were coming there, and it actually, was good for them. Were they conflict? Like, were they both like the same style bar, say like a sports bar or an Irish pub, or
they were both very similar bars. They were trying to draw the exact same. Yes. So the person that owned the new bar used to own the old bar, and he sold it. And he's like, I'm just getting out of the bar business. Then he realized he wasn't making as much money anymore. So he decided, I'm just going to open another bar. Well, he opened a restaurant. Like And he's like, well, the restaurant's not doing well. So then he added a bar onto it and just made it essentially this bar just in a new place. Overall, he ended up winning because the other bar ended up going under to the person that he sold it to. Guy knew nothing about bar management, anything like that. He was like in debt, like over his head. And eventually that one shut down. So now we all go to that one. We all go to the one that we were fucking with. So karma's a motherfucker.
Kind of funny.
I still have the
do you ever bring up that? I was gonna say, do you ever bring it up?
Oh, I brought it up to the owner. I was like, you guys remember when when you guys first opened, you were having all sorts of problems with your TV and shit? And they're like, he's like, yeah, he goes, we were thinking about getting new TVs. He goes, but it just kind of stopped. I was like, yeah, that was me. He's like, what? And I pulled a remote out and I went, he's like, yeah, it's pretty easy to, he's like, you're an asshole. I was like, yeah. I was like, dude, you were pulling people away from yesterday's. What do you want me to do?
Did he call it today?
I keep looking back at me because I'm waiting for a fight to happen.
Ooh. And for anybody just listening, not like an animal fight.
Yeah, the pigs and the one pig and my dogs, the new dogs, they do not get along. And usually I finally got to where the pig can walk by them without them jumping up and attacking her, but I get nervous.
You really need to start coining the new phrase, instead of a bull in a china shop, a pig in a computer room, or a pig in a studio, or a pig in a house.
Just bull in a china shop, pig in a house. Dude, like she's bent all the legs on my desks. Like just ripped cables out of the wall. When a pig goes in heat, man, they nest, and whatever they can find is what belongs in their nest. So now we know she's nesting. All the doors get closed at night, and everything gets lifted up off the floor.
I'm gonna have people really questioning my health because I'm gonna buy an oxygen mask and like a tank, because this shit made me like I had to mute myself for a little bit. I couldn't breathe for like 2 minutes. So one of these days I'm just gonna start just and we're like, damn. And I'm like, They're like, look at this athlete. Look at this guy. Like them on NFL sidelines when they're sitting there. I'm like, just got done running a 440. You know, just athletic things.
No offense. Nobody's ever probably going to look at you and be like, look at that athlete.
A lot of people do. You know, it's crazy. You know, it takes a lot to be in this peak performance. You know, it does. The amount of
technically, I guess,
I do per day, it's exhausting.
I guess cornhole players are athletes now. So, I mean, being a stud of a dart player, just fucking, just a stud of an athlete.
That alone is just exhausting. You know, just the amount of energy I have to put in just throwing darts. You know, how did you know that I was on cornhole TikTok though? Because those lives have been crazy. I'm seeing these tournaments left and right.
I don't know. I just assumed.
I don't know if I sent you the video or not, Yuban, of the guy playing cornhole that had
the nubs.
The nubs.
Arms and legs.
Yeah,
so he had
sent that to Matt too.
Nub like this, and when he does, he like jumps to do it, and it was a stitch, and the guy goes over the line. Throw doesn't count.
Oh yes.
How good
I saw
was that
another
guy,
one
though?
too.
He was sinking him. He was sinking him.
I almost sent you another stitch where someone had Patrick the Starfish stitched with that guy. I was like,
well, yeah, because the guy, the one that I sent, the guy has no legs, and he's stubs at his elbows.
That's what I'm saying. They had him throwing it.
Like, but he's draining him.
He's
perfect placement, and he'd move over a little bit, and it was. I wouldn't play him. He would. I would play him because I'm one of these guys. I know they're competitive, but I just could not be a competitive cornholer without, first of all, laughing, and second of all, taking a game that I feel is supposed to be fun, and it just wouldn't be fun anymore.
I couldn't. I'm really good at the game cornhole, but the thing is I wouldn't be able to play it competitively because where I come from, if you're throwing bags, you have to have a beer in your hand while you're throwing.
Oh, absolutely. Counterbalance. You know, that's why King Leonidas missed his last row.
That's legitimately the rule. You must have That's legitimately our local rule is you have to have a beer, whether it be in a mug or a cup or a can or a bottle, and you have to have beer in it in order to throw.
Makes sense.
Like you can't like have your beers off to the side, go throw, and then pick it. No, your beer has to be in your hand, in your non-throwing hand.
I'm assuming in the professional, what is that, American Cornhole League or whatever it is, that they can't drink, because I've never seen a single person drink while they're throwing. Can they drink when they're not throwing?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like
I don't.
They were just sitting there throwing. They do their shots. Their partners up. Can they have beers?
They're at a venue, so I don't know. I know that if I'm ever at the bar and we're just playing cornhole, and two like older gentlemen pull up and say, "Does anybody have the next game?" I'm just done for the night. I'm like, I'm not fucking playing these guys.
Yeah. Right,
First of all, they're way too curious about the damn game, and secondly, they're not fucking missing.
No.
In North Carolina, if you get two old guys,
they grew up playing
cornhole, horseshoes.
No, they grew up playing horseshoes. And fucking, they were just ringer. And now cornholes, because I've played some guys locally that were fucking unreal in horseshoes that I just can't even compete with. And then they get, let me try this new game, cornhole, and they're just as fucking deadly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you play. If you see two guys come up and they've got white beards, John Deere hats, and overalls, and they're like, "Hey, we've got next." You're like, "Fucking, you can have for the rest of the night." Like, because I'm not beating you, and I know nobody else here that's been drinking all night is going to beat you, and they'll just run the tables. But they've got the greatest stories. I'll tell you that. That fucking hearing them talk shit and tell stories while they're throwing bags is awesome. I love it.
I've seen like the highlight reels of these people, and like, because I always think myself, I'm like, oh, I'm good. I can get like through an amateur tournament, like I could be top 5, you know. And then I see these actual tournaments, and they're like, oh yeah, watch, they have 3 bags just hovering around the hole, like they're gonna pull off this one maneuver and it's gonna drain all of them. And I'm just like, what? No, they're not. There's no way they can hop, skip, do all this shit. And then it just goes, and I go, oh, and they don't even move. They're just like, okay, yeah, that's what I was supposed to do. I'm like, yeah. That wasn't your first time doing that? What? What?
Oh yeah,
I'm like, okay. I'll stick to Northwest Missouri.
It reminds me a lot of watching, whether it's just had a brain fart. Tetris Online, Tetris Championships. I don't know if you've seen that. Any kind of video games at all.
Yeah.
Darts, similar. Curling, Olympic curling. You watch that game, you're like, I could do that. The amount of precision, the amount of practice that goes into that is just unbelievable. And the difference between the top 1% and the rest, the next 15% is just there's such a gap. So yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
Well, and the other thing, like going off of what Yuban says, is like these guys have been they're so used to doing this and like draining all the bags on the board in one shot. They've done it so many times, they don't even react to it. It's kind of like I was watching a stand-up comedian. I don't remember his name, but he was talking about growing up as an Indian kid, and you got slapped, like you get like at your own birthdays and blah blah blah. And he's like, and this is how Indians. This is why we're so stoic in every situation. He goes, have you ever seen an Indian kid win a spelling bee? And he brings up a video of it right behind him on stage. He's like, look, this kid just won the national spelling bee. $300,000, and the kid spells the word, and he's like confetti's falling around, zero emotion on this kid's face, and he goes, and you want to know where he gets that? Well, look, here's his parents, and then it flips over, and the parents are both like, and then they pan over to like the little brother that's like, and he's like, that little kid right now is like, I have no hope. There's nowhere I can go from here. To outdo what's being done in front of me right now. He's like, we have no emotion.
I randomly saw something online that some kid who was like 11 or something got a perfect score on the SATs or something like that. I don't know why I triggered my brain for that, but it's like got a perfect 11-year-old. That's first thing that popped in my head. I was like, fucking dude, these houses. In real life, this dude is going to be a doctor. He's probably already graduated high school at this point. They're going to put him through 4 years of school. Then they're going to put him through another 8 years of school, and he's probably going to fucking not have a very good childhood.
Do you think we like kindergarten? How many people, if you were to mention something about it, I mean, they all know Neil Patrick Harris. right? Like I think it's safe to say the majority of society knows who Neil Patrick Harris is. But how many, if you were just to bring it up in conversation around people, we'll just say a varied age group. Like if I was on, do they know him from that? How many of them are going to know him from that versus are going to know him from Doogie Howser?
Yeah, I was going to say Neil Patrick Harris. Don't you mean Doogie?
Doogie. That's a good question though. Maybe we'll put that on the community tab or something. Like Neil Patrick Harris. What's the first thing that pops in your mind? And give a couple of choices. Is it Doogie Howser? Is it from How I Met Your Mother?
See, I mean,
Barney, probably some other
Barney
stuff. Those are the two for me.
I definitely remember him as Doogie, but now, I mean, I've known him longer as Barney, so I consider him Barney now.
So for anybody that's just listening, I held up a book called The Bro Code, right? And I bought this on, obviously, Thrift Books, and I haven't read it yet, but I just opened it up, and there's writing, and I'm super intrigued now. It says, "You better read up!" ! Tamar, check out Article 22 in 134. So now I'm very curious, and I don't know if you guys are. I feel like we have to read Article 22.
Yeah, no. Now we have to say what it is. I mean, we're over our time, but this is definitely worth it.
Article 22 from the Bro Code. From there, it says there is no law that prohibits a woman from being a bro. And that was something that I think talked about in an episode. And it says women make excellent bros. Why? Because they can translate and navigate the confusing and contradictory whims that compromise the chick code. And then it goes on about, do chicks really have their own code? And there's a whole bunch of chick code from there. That's interesting because we did.
That's why I say that like everybody needs a flamboyantly gay guy in their life. You need your translator, right? We all need our translator. Not to mention the fact they're hilarious, dude. You posted a clip of me saying that in one of our shows where I was like, everybody needs a flamboyantly gay guy. Like, they're just wonderful to be around. Their storytelling is amazing. And somebody had commented. He went, no. And I went, by all means, explain why. Like, I want you to out yourself right now as a homophobic individual. Please give me the pleasure of you doing that on social media.
He also, I heard, always sticks up for domestic abuse so he can get laid, that same guy. But all right, Bro Code Article 134. A bro is entitled to use a woman as his wingman.
Oh yeah, because a woman will go talk to another. Yeah, a woman will go talk to another woman and talk you up like better than any guy can.
Yep. And it says
I usually
wing
prefer
woman.
her
If your wingman already knows what women want to hear, isn't that an advantage far greater than having a lot of money, a full head of hair, or even a speedboat? Yes. And the best part is that a wing woman, they do exist. To acquire one, though, you're going to need to overcome the sexist misconceptions that so often scare chicks away from helping bros bang other chicks. So thanks, Tamar. You made the show. Definitely went through them all because 134 is straight towards the end, and interesting ones about the women being, of all the articles in the Bro Code.
Well, how about we also ask the audience then? Last thing. How many women here have ever been the wingman for a guy friend of theirs, or gone out as one of the bros? I'd love to know. I'd love to hear some of these stories.
Yeah, it does. Again, it is going to take a special kind of woman to help a man bang other women just for the pleasure of hooking up with other women.
Oh, my wife would help out another guy in a heartbeat. Oh, her? Okay, sure. Now, the only thing you got to worry about is when Angel goes to do it, oftentimes the girl gets interested in her. That's happened on several occasions where she's tried to help people out. They're like, well, what about you? And he's like, excuse me?
Like,
oh, no. I'm married.
That one coming.
Like, I'm okay with that. And you're like, no, okay, here we go.
Here we go. Another time at yesterday's.
But yeah.
See what we did there? All right. Well, that is unless you guys got something else, I think we can wrap this up. Unlike Yuban Specker. We're good here. All right. Obviously, you guys check them out on all social media. They call me Toby 2, the number, and Toby and Angel. Check them out on all the social medias. Brandon J. McDermott, he's on them all as well. It's 2023. Just go to any of their bios and just click the link, and you can find them everywhere. And then you got Still Whacking Off. You've been whacking off. Where's he whacking off? You've-been-whacking-off.com. Spelling's hard. I know D. Lemon couldn't figure it out, but we broke it down for him. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go watch that episode. But yeah, check out all the guys. Appreciate every single one of you listening, watching. I don't know why you're doing this, but either way, we appreciate it. And fellas, it's fun as always. That's all I got.